Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Welcome to Tam Psych Advice. Today we're going to talk about, do you hang with people that you don't like? And maybe that sounds like a contradiction, because why would you hang with people that you don't like? Is that possible? Can you have friends that you don't like? I know there are situations that maybe we can't help. You could be in a friend circle and there's someone in there that you don't like. What do you do about that? Do you like everyone that you're around? Are there certain situations where you don't like people that you're around? How do you tolerate that? How do you handle that? It could also be, just thought of something. What about family that you don't like? Is that a possibility? I think that would probably be the most, I guess, the most common form of being around people you don't like. You can't divorce your family. You can't choose who your family members are. And so there may be situations where you are tolerating people that you really don't care for. Another situation would be coworker situations. You really can't control a lot of that either. But when it comes to working situations, I will say that a key part to, I think, work success is being around people that you enjoy. It is being around like-minded people that you can enjoy, that you can have fun with, that you can talk to, that you can connect with, that you can work well with, and not somebody that's just bringing toxic energy. But probably in most work situations, if you don't have somebody with that toxic energy, you're lucky. Even somebody with toxic energy could bring positivity to the job. They may be really intelligent. They may be good at strategizing. They may be good at doing some things that you aren't, which is why maybe the boss is keeping them around. I know sometimes when I do certain Myers-Briggs videos, I get comments about certain types that people find very, very difficult to work with or to even be in a family with. So what is your solution to that? How do you handle that when you're in situations where you have to be around people that you don't like? If you understand Myers-Briggs, and if you don't understand Myers-Briggs, it just basically is breaking down 16 different people's different types of personalities and giving big descriptions of each one of those people. And all of those people are not going to get along. If you put one of them in a room with each other, one of each of the 16 types, there are going to be people that are going to gravitate to each other, and there are going to be people that are just irritated with each other. It really helps you to kind of understand people. But even if you have the advantage of understanding people and how they think and how they function and what they like and what they don't like, then it still doesn't make it easier when it still doesn't solve the problem of when you have to work with these people. I guess I've talked to, actually, goodness. Yeah, I've talked to a few people lately who had difficult work situations where they just felt like either they were being picked on, harassed, unfairly targeted, or they're around people that are different from their Myers-Briggs type. Even if they don't understand Myers-Briggs, they know that there's something about these people that's different from me. So Are you good at functioning in situations where everyone is different from you? I think that would be hard for most people to deal with. I think in some ways it's great if we can be open to different ways of doing things, different styles of doing things. If it can kind of fit together like a puzzle, like I'm not good with dealing with this type of thing, but you are. Like, let's say there are spontaneous things that come up and you know that that's not your thing. And there's somebody that's super spontaneous and ESFP, ESTP in your group, and they're comfortable with that. That could be extremely helpful. If you're not good with scheduling and you have an ISTJ or an ESFJ in there that can go in and organize and create a schedule and follow routines and rituals, then I think that could really, really be helpful. So, I don't know. So, anyway, hanging with people that you don't like. I have definitely been in situations where it seemed to be a pretty big group, where there's somebody in that group that I really don't care for. I mean, I could deal with them, I can have some conversations with them, but if they weren't there, I would probably be happier, or I wouldn't care because they complicate they kind of complicate the environment. You know, I might be in one train of thought. I just want to be laid back. I want to have fun. I want to enjoy myself. And then you have somebody that wants to be confrontational, or they think in a way that you don't. Or they are like, hey, why are you leaving me out? Or why are you doing things this way or that way? And my mind is just totally, somewhere else. So I think we can all get in situations where we have to hang with people that we just don't care for, right? So what about family? What does that do to your brain if you have to hang with people that you don't care for? And what is the reason that you don't care for them? Could you use Myers-Briggs to explain what it is that you don't like about them? Right? So let's say you put an ISFJ with, let's say, an ESTP. Do you think that they would click? They might click, but I don't know. There are just different types that might clash. Sometimes people who are very similar to each other don't like each other. I've seen that. I'll give you an example. I actually had two ISFJs, and one of them said, I'm avoiding this function because I don't want to be around that ISFJ. And I thought, that's so interesting because, I mean, in my mind, I'm thinking, you guys are the same type. There are things that you both do that are the same, that are very similar. You respond in many of the same ways as each other, but you're avoiding that function because you don't want to be around someone who is like you. And so that just begs the question, can you look internally? Can you do internal work on yourself and see how you are similar to someone? One time I heard someone say the thing that you don't like about others may be the thing that you don't like about yourself. And so sometimes you can use that to check yourself and to grow and to try to be better and try to make improvements and ask yourself, okay, do I make people feel the way that person makes me feel? And can I make any changes? But have you ever been in situations where you just couldn't avoid it? I will tell you one of my pet peeves, I guess, or something that I don't like is if I feel like someone is too needy. And that's not to say that I don't like closeness, because there are people, friends, that I feel very close to. We can talk every day. It doesn't bother me. I love it. It's cool. So I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people that you, like, I once had a friend that I spoke to every day, and if we missed a day of speaking, she would be upset, or why didn't you call me? Why didn't you answer when I called? I don't like that. That's a trigger for me. That makes me start thinking, what else is going on here? Like, if we're talking most days and you get that upset, I don't like the way that feels. So, I guess we can sometimes get into situations where we're with people that we don't like. So, what do you do about it? If it's family and you have to be around a lot of people, or someone in the family that you just really don't care for whatever reason, how do you handle it? Do you think as an adult you should just push through? Because I hear that all the time, especially with holidays. People dread holidays. I was just listening to somebody's video today, and they were saying that they enjoyed the pandemic because it shut down a lot of things that they didn't want to do with people they didn't want to do it with the arguing and the fighting and the confrontation and all of that. They got to avoid that for a year, and they loved it. And they are dreading the of what do you call it? The lifting of things getting better to some extent, because they don't want to go back into that world anymore. So should you avoid things like that? Do you think by going to things, I guess participating in events with people that you don't like, do you think it's something that you have to just do and accept as an adult? Take it for the team, look at the good, ignore the bad, push through it. Is that a sign of maturity? Or does doing that over and over, especially if there's a really toxic person in the circle, is it doing more damage? Or should you is it doing damage? Is it damaging you? Is it doing more damage than you can recover from? Like, it takes you days to recover after you interact with certain people. Is it worth that? So then what do? Maybe you can do things with certain people in the group and not others. But then would that cause more problems because now the other people feel rejected? So I think it could be a really tricky thing. I think for me, as I grow, I have had to let go of certain people. And that's not easy to do. And it might not even be the best or smartest thing to do, because you think, did I make a mistake? Was I wrong? Is a friend no matter what they do, no matter who they are, like what, as long as they're not doing the unforgivable, doing things that you think are unforgivable, should you continue that friendship, or should you let it go? I guess I started realizing that there was a certain lane of people. I think sometimes people have, you may have somebody in your life that you really like them, but then there's something that they keep doing that you don't like. And over time, you finally have a breaking point. Like, what, is this person a user? What is going on in that lane? Why are they're they're always asking for favors? They are always using other people. That's just what they do. Is that but then you have fun with them and you enjoy them and you have a good time. Other than that, I think the problem would come in with if you never ask them for anything and you finally do and they reject that could be a huge problem. So I don't think it's always a cut and dry thing. I think that there's a gray area, and I think sometimes we have to put up with some things that we don't want to put up with. But when is enough enough? Like, where do you draw the line? When do you say, I don't want to, sometimes we justify what we don't like. We make up excuses, we make up reasons. So then what is that? How is that benefiting? How is that benefiting you by staying with people that you don't like being around? It could be that you feel like your friends circle is already really small, and if you let go of the one or two people that are not that great, they're not feeding or building you up, then you won't have anyone. Do you ever notice that you attract the same type of people? Like, there's some toxic pattern that you are attracting all the time? Can you let that go? Would you feel comfortable with letting people go that you know have toxic patterns? Or do you hang on to them out of desperation, or because, well, it's better than nothing and they do this good thing? Sometimes we have to take some good with some bad. There definitely will never be a perfect person. We all make mistakes. None of us are perfect. You have to also look at, are there areas in which we are hypocritical? So it's like, I'm doing these offenses, but I don't like it when other people do this other thing. And how about forgiveness? How quickly or willing are you to forgive other people? I've seen situations where someone is doing something that they shouldn't do. I mean, just like a blatant no, right? But then someone offends them once and they, oh my God, every chance they get, I'm going to go after you because of this or because of that. Or you did one thing to me. And so now for years, I'm going to punish you for it. But then they're not looking at their own, what they're doing wrong. So I think there's a lane that we all need to check ourselves. Nobody is better than anyone else. Sometimes we make good choices and sometimes we make bad choices. But all of us have an area that we can improve in and do better in. So, do you hang with people that you don't like? And why are you continuing to hang around these people if you really don't care for them? I think there are some, it's interesting. If you can get into talking about codependency. I think I'm codependent, to be honest, and I'm trying to work on that. It's very difficult because I also notice, sometimes you're saving people, but then who's saving you? And if someone does try, it feels uncomfortable because I'm not used to that to a certain degree. And I'm learning that everybody has to kind of save themselves. It's not that you can't help or that you can't give support, but sometimes we have to make room for ourselves and work on ourselves and help ourselves and do things to support ourselves versus always going outside of ourselves to save someone else. That could be a reason why maybe you don't like some of the people that you're around, So yeah, you gotta save yourself sometimes. Put yourself first. And I'm learning that that's not selfish, because I think somewhere deep inside my mind, I feel like that's selfish because I see people doing that all the time. Like, they're gonna put themselves first. I think, and it's not to say that they won't help other people or that they won't enjoy it, but when it comes down to it, it's about me, 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 me. And there have been times when I and other people as well will sacrifice what we want for someone else's needs. And I don't know how healthy that is. So I'm kind of in that stage myself where I'm trying to figure out how do I navigate, give people some. It's not, I don't want to take all my support away from people, but I do realize that I have not looked out for myself the way that I deserve. And I also notice that if I'm in certain situations, people aren't going to come to my rescue the way that I come to theirs. And it might be because it's not their strength, and they may help me in other ways that I'm not good at. So I do think there are certain Myers-Briggs types that will kind of stay too long in toxic situations. If I were to pick a group, NFs, NTs, SPs, SJs, that I think can stay in situations way too long, which one of those groups would you pick? That you would say, okay, they have this person that's driving them nuts, and they continue with the friendship. They won't let it go, or they're in this work situation that is extremely toxic, but they won't let it go. Which group do you think it would be? Which Myers-Briggs types do you think would be the worst at that? I think SJs are the worst at that because they have a set of rules that they follow. They have a certain set of guidelines. They're all J's, so they're going to finish what they start. They're going to complete things. They are guardians, even though they may not like being called guardians, but they naturally look out for people. And I think people can take advantage of that big time. Like, he's going to come through no matter what. And that is a positive trait to have in a friendship, in a family, in a work setting. But it's also okay to have boundaries. And that doesn't mean that you have to be a jerk with your boundaries. It just means that there are vultures out there There are needy people out there. There are deeply insecure people out there. There are people who wish you no good. They don't care if they sink you, as long as you meet their needs. And those people will also act out when those SJs, because that's who we're talking about now, ISTJs, ESTJs, ESFJs, ISFJs, there are people who will act out when they say, I can't do this anymore. I can't be your savior anymore. No, it's one thing to be loyal, to be supportive, to do your job, to be the best friend that you can be. But when you are loyal in a situation where this person is driving you crazy, you don't understand their way of thinking, they're calling you their friend, I just love you, and they're very toxic. They don't let you speak. They don't let you share your thoughts. And when you do, they attack you, but they want you around. Or, I can't do my job. You do it for me. You do this for me. I know you can't do your job, but I need you to do my job. There are a lot of selfish, self-centered people out there. And so, when do you say enough is enough? And it's amazing because I think an SJ who is codependent, they're not going to even know how to get themselves out of situations. Or they're going to hang on beyond when it's time to let go. Whether that's in a relationship, husband, wife, that is destroying them, they will offer themselves up for the chopping block. And they will come up with every excuse not to leave or not to shift things because they have to follow those rules. So I think you have to fail some of those people. You have to teach people how to treat you to a certain extent. And that doesn't mean that you can't be giving and that you can't do a lot of things to help people or things that you enjoy. It's just about when it comes to the point where you're sacrificing who you are. And I'm talking to myself too, where you sacrifice who you are for the sake of someone else who's doing everything that they want to do and they're happy and they're never going to do their job and they're going to just sink everybody around them, but they don't care. When do you look out for yourself? When is loyal too loyal? And then speaking of, are you around someone who you don't like? Are you hanging with somebody you don't like? What about a spouse? Do you like your spouse? Do you like your boyfriend or girlfriend? Or do you not like them? What's keeping you there? What would make you change things or let go if that person is making you miserable or you feel miserable because you're allowing them to do what they do because they are who they are, then what's keeping you there? Sometimes we have to, I hear guys say a lot, forget feelings, bump feelings. I don't care about feelings, Sometimes you have to step out of feelings. You do. And you have to step into logic. And you have to make yourself a priority. Some people, when they start trying that on, they can kind of become jerks because they don't know how to balance it. They're going from black to white, or they're trying to work some things out so they can be very agitated. But how do you put yourself first without being a narcissist? Ha ha ha. Since I've written a book about narcissism, is it okay to put yourself first? And when is it okay to put yourself first? Do you believe that you can have relationships that are happy, that are fulfilling? Do you believe you can be in a work environment that is happy and fulfilling? Do you believe you can have friendships, a husband, a wife, a friend that is just enjoyable to be around? You just really click. I think some people get in situations and stay in them for so long, they don't think happy is possible. They don't think positive is possible. They don't think happiness or connecting in they start, oh, all workplaces are terrible, or all women are bad, or all men are bad, and every friend is jealous, and that is not the case. But I think sometimes we have to start with ourselves, and that means going inward to figure out, to also confront faulty beliefs, and to also figure out, yeah, why am I okay with this? Why am I okay with staying in a situation where I'm not happy, but the other person seems to be happy, or both of you may not be happy? You have to weigh the pros and the cons. Do I want to take some risk and try to figure out something that's happy? But definitely, if you are absolutely miserable in a situation, even if it's a work situation, I don't care how much money you make. And I understand that people have to have a job, but it doesn't make sense to be completely miserable every single day. I'm not okay with that for you or anyone else. It just, to me, it doesn't make logical sense. Somebody might argue, well, you got to take steps, and those steps are difficult. They are difficult. You're trading one set of difficult for another. You might have to stack difficult on top of difficult to get out of the situation. But some people choose a lifetime of difficult because they don't have the energy, or they're stuck in irrational thinking. But yeah, I mean, you would have to make some sacrifices. There's really no way around that unless a miracle happens for you. You might have to have a second degree of uncomfortableness to get out of situations that you are not happy in. So, what do you think? What do you think? Put in the comments or put in the chat what you think is the price of happiness. And do you think it's worth it to get there? Will you do everything you can to get there, or have you given up, or are you just accepting the status quo? What do you think? Especially when it comes to being around people that are breaking you. What do you think it takes to get out of those situations? I would be so curious to know. All right, you guys. Well, it's been great hanging with you for a little while. And I just want to thank all of you guys for your support. You are very appreciated. And I'm just so happy to be able to, I do enjoy helping you guys and giving you advice and things that I think you can do to make your life better. I mean, that's definitely my goal. I mean, I'm going to share with you what I'm learning about myself or just whatever. So give us some feedback. What do you do what do you think people should do when they're hanging with people that they don't like? No matter the environment, what should they do? All right, I will see you guys on the next video. Have a wonderful rest of your day, your evening, all that good stuff. And I'll see you later. Bye.